Hello students. I want to spend a few minutes looking at the text. Edwidge Danticat's text, a wall of fire rising, a wall of fire rising. The text is found on page 412, that's where it begins, and ends on page 424. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to provide an overview about this amazing short story and then go over some of the major themes in this text. I'm not going to be long, I promise. I just want to highlight the major parts, the major segments in this wonderful story. Let's begin with Danticat herself. Well, there's an introduction on page 412 in your textbook about Danticat, who she is. She is an award-winning Haitian American writer. She is very prolific and has authored many books, many novels. For example, she wrote this one, Brother, I'm Dying, a New York bestseller. Um, the Dew Breaker and Claire of the Sea of Light, uh, The Farming of Bones. She writes. She's an excellent writer. She reflects on social, political, cultural issues regarding Haitians who live in the United States, also immigrants who live in the United States. She also reflects on the political culture in Haiti, dictatorship. Francois Duvalier, for example, who was a dictator uh, in Haiti. So Danticat wrote about these interesting issues in life. She was born in 1969 and she moved to the United States with her parents. She moved to New York, to Brooklyn, New York, when she was 12 years old. In this text, a wall of fire rising. The setting of this text is Haiti. It's actually a house near a sugar mill where the father worked. Um, there are four major characters in this story. Guy, he does not pronounce as Guy, but Guy. Lily, Leto Guy, and Assad. So Guy is the protagonist in the story. Lily, of course, is his wife, and they have a son together. His name is Leto Guy. Assad is a Haitian of Lebanese descent. Um, he's a the family is very wealthy. They own a sugar mill where they give jobs to the poor people, the peasants, in that community. And Guy, Lily, and their son, later Guy, live in that one bedroom house. They're very poor. The story talks about their living condition. For example, on page 415, there are imagery metaphors, very descriptive details that indicate they're poor. They're very poor. They're just trying to make it in life. Also on page 414, the top paragraph talks about their experience with poverty. Well, in this story, um, we find this man, Guy, who dreams of escaping his life of poverty, in his community. He wants a future for his family, for his wife, Lydie, and his son, later Guy. So the family lived together, and Guy loves his wife very much. There are words and sentences that express his affections for his wife, his love for his wife. Um, for example, on page 418, we see also on page 422, okay, where Guy expresses his love, his care for his family. Now, what happens, this little boy, little Guy, goes to school. He goes to a poor school. But he's playing a major lead in the school play. He's gonna play the lead of a historical figure in Haitian history. His name is Boukman. Boukman. Boukkaman. Dottie Boukman was a revolutionary leader in the Haitian Revolution. He was responsible to plan what's called the General Revolt in Haitian history in August 1791. So he would lead the enslaved African population to freedom. Many said he was a voodoo priest. On the night of August 1791, he called upon the voodoo spirits to empower the enslaved population so they can free themselves from the shackle of slavery, from the French imperial power in Saint-Domingue. That's the former name of Haiti in colonial times. So this little man is identified with Haiti's forefather Boukman. He's playing a leading role in the play. Boukman is his hero. Boukman is also the hero of every Haitian. Boukman is also the hero of the play. So that sense of heroism will shape the little man's life, his experience, and that sense of heroism will also have a major influence or impact in the family's life. Now, the little man was given to memorize an important line which we find on page 414, actually paragraph 30, I'm sorry, lines 36, starting right here. It goes like this. A wall of fire is rising, and in the ashes, I see the bones of my people. Not only those people whose dark, hollow faces I see daily in the fields, but all those souls who have gone ahead to haunt my dreams. So, this is an important speech, and in fact, this speech continues on page 423, paragraph line 215. What's interesting is this. Remember, I mentioned the field, the sugar field, where the father works and other Haitians work. Assad, the Assad family put a hot balloon, okay, in the field. One of them purchased the balloon from the United States and placed it there. So the balloon was the gaze of every peasant, every person in the community, because they have never they have never seen anything like that before. However, for Guy, the balloon symbolizes hope, a new dream, his destiny. He wants to fly the balloon. He wants to get on the balloon and fly it to explore a new life. In fact, he tells his wife about his dream to fly that hot air balloon. It's an interesting conversation. He believes that the balloon, by flying the balloon, he could be empowered to shift his destiny, to dream his destiny. And of course, that's going to lead to his death. When nobody was looking, he goes into the field and gets on the balloon, and the balloon was floating with him. Everybody was staring at him. And of course, his wife, Lily, was afraid. She knew she was going to lose her husband. When Guy tries to jump out of the balloon, which he eventually did, he died in the story. And his son comes up and recite the lines. He recites the lines over his body. These are the same lines. These are the same lines he was going to recite at the play. Now, it's interesting that hot air balloon symbolizes many things to Assad, its owner, to Guy, to the little boy, and to his wife. And of course, for Assad, it was something that he places in the film, something new. But for Guy, the balloon means hope, dream, a new life. So when we look at the story talks about one's dream, how to attain one dream. The value of dream, the significance of dream. The story also talks about social classes, the division between dark skinned Haitian and light skinned Haitians. They're divided by their color, also by their class, socioeconomic class. They're also divided by their education. And as we look at the story, I can talk about the major themes the story explores. At least the author wants us to focus on those themes: poverty, freedom, the importance of the Haitian Revolution, how the revolution has inspired that little boy to become a hero, family duties. Guy understands the importance of being a father. He equates fatherhood with being a provider, with being a protector. Also, suffering is part of human nature, not just those poor Haitians, but everywhere we go in the world, we see suffering as a universal experience. Also, one of one of the most interesting ideas about the story is the dangerous power of hope and dream. You know, some of our dreams can be dangerous. Some of our dreams, if we're not careful to nurture them, they can lead to our death. This is exactly what happens to Guy in the story. Finally, the interesting thing about the story is this. We know Guy dies in this story, but was it an accidental death? Or did Guy deliberately kill himself? Those are the things that I want you to think about the story as you read. Think about the themes I mentioned to you, right? Parenthood, power of hope and dreaming, freedom, suffering. Have a good day.